Everybody, welcome to another edition of Boston Straight Shooters. Steve is on one tonight. I'm Frank, so I don't even know if I'm gonna call him Steve tonight. I'm Frank. I'm one of the hosts. I think I'm gonna call him Negative Ned tonight because we have a big show. We got a lot to talk about. There's also a couple of developing stories. I want to touch base on that too. But you know what? Let's talk about. I mean, Steve, I see you got. I see you got. You want to talk about the Red Sox first. I want to talk about them second. Give people time to come in. So
Okay
let's
with
talk
that?
about the Bruins first. I'll let you get you talk about the get this Bruin situation because yeah, it's pretty exciting if you're a fan of one of the players, right, Steve?
Yeah. Former Bruin Brad Marchand was traded at the deadline to the Florida Panthers, and they came through and won the Stanley Cup, and he had himself a good series. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy to see him get it. Uh, you know, I wanted them to. I didn't want them. I didn't want them to trade him just for the sake of getting rid of him at the deadline. I wanted them to trade him because I wanted them to get assets back because he was asking for too much money and couldn't reach an agreement with the front office on an extension. So it worked out for both sides, in my opinion. And now I'm hearing that he's looking at getting like $8 million a year, and there's no way in hell the Bruins should pay that. Now somebody else might, but it shouldn't be them. Um, so good for him. Uh, it gave the local people around here a reason to watch the Stanley Cup, the same as a few years ago when Bruce Cassidy won it. So I'm happy for him, and kudos to him.
So he's worth six, but he's not worth eight. That's what you're saying?
He's worth three in my opinion. He's not even worth six.
Wow, he's worth three. Wow.
In my
So
opinion, the Bruins can't afford to tie up 6, 7, or 8 million. I mean, they offered him his regular $6 million salary. He said no. I want 7.5. And I don't agree with paying him that. I mean, he's 30. He's going to be 38 years old coming up, and he's just not the same guy. Now he looked like the same guy in the playoffs because he was on the third line. On the
mhm.
Bruins, he's on the first or second line. So he's playing against all the other team's top defenders. Against these
Yeah.
guys, he wasn't playing against their top lines. So he was a mismatch, and he took advantage. And he looked like the Marchand of old, and he had to have been rejuvenated playing in the playoffs on a cup contender. So I don't blame him for asking for the money. I just don't think that the front office should be stupid. The Bruins front office should be stupid and give it to him because they can't afford to. Other teams can take a shot and add him at 8 million, but the Bruins can't, and they can't fall in love with guys that are 38-year-old just because of nostalgia. I got yelled at and harpooned on here by our members, Denise and Tim, and Danny. They all and my even Sergeant Slaughter, my brother. They all wanted him to march on to stay, and it's not realistic for them to do that. It sets the team back from growing and going forward.
Okay. So you said a lot there. I was going to interrupt you, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you're so used to doing the show by yourself, using a roll. Let's go back to something you said because you were saying that he's not worth six. He's worth three. He was on the third line. I want to focus on that part. He's on the third line. If you're a coach and you're the coach for the Boston Bruins, I granted he's one of the best players. Couldn't that have been a great thing for you to do the same thing for him and put him at a mismatch for you? And even though he's one of your better players, because in basketball they do that a lot. You know what I mean? They put people where you could take an advantage of instead of being taken advantage of. As you get older, you know what I mean. Like Kevin Durant, he's gonna start, but he's gonna come out after the first 5-7 minutes. And then let the other guys run. You know what I mean? Like you create an advantage for your players as they get older. Basically, what I'm trying to come to. Bruins couldn't do that.
I understand what you say, and I agree that the problem is the talent on the Bruins roster is bereft of guys that actually fit first and second on the top six guys. So he would still be considered a top six guy in the rotation. Now, if they had better guys, and look in free agency, hopefully they'll sign another guy, and hopefully the guy they signed last year will step up and be better, and they'll have a better front six so that they could put him on the third line. But the third line guys are not making 6, 7, $8 million, even if they do a mismatch for him. Uh, I would only pay him 3, maybe 4 tops, just because they can't afford to hamstring themselves salary cap wise.
All right. Okay. So I guess this then leads into who they should get and what they should focus on the draft. This much I do know about the Bruins. They need everything. You know what I mean? I know that they need
That's putting
everything.
it mildly.
No, honestly, they need everything.
Oh
So
yeah, no.
beggars can't be choosy. So, but if you're the Bruins and as much as you know about the Bruins, do they get best player available or do they focus on one particular, you know, type of player?
I think what they need is they specifically probably need another left winger,
Mm,
and whether they can get that in free agency or not remains to be seen. I wasn't focused on the free agent part yet because the free agency period doesn't start until July 1st.
right,
So we have one more week. So this week I focus more on the draft because the draft is next week.
right.
And so they're drafting and they're picking at number 7. And so, um, there's a few guys on this list that are in the top 10, and I only grabbed the top 10 because if they pick anybody below that, they're just completely stupid. But there's a few guys in here, hopefully, that would slip to them. I'll pick Peter Marchand. He's a right winger. He's a 200-pound guy, plays with some grit. I think he would fit well here, but I don't know if he'll be available. James Hagens, he's from Boston College. He's projected to go number 4, so I don't think they really have a shot at him. But if he was to slip down at number 7, I would definitely grab him. He's a Hobie Baker Award winner, which is like the MVP of college hockey.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another guy, a center, he's actually slotted 7th, is Caleb Denoyer. He's a center from the Quebec Junior League. And, he's one of the top prospects. And there are 2 defensemen, one that's expected to be the overall number 1 pick, and they have no shot of getting him unless they trade with the Islanders to get him. His name is Matthew Schaefer. He would be like I'll just say Bobby Orr of now for reference. And there's another guy, Jackson Smith. He's from the WHL. He's ranked in the top 6 too. But I don't want the Bruins to get him because they have enough defensemen. If everybody's healthy, they don't need defense. They need scoring. So my hope is that they don't pick him. But like you said, they need everything. So they need defense. They do need to get either re-sign one of their own guys, or there's another guy out there, and I forget the team he's on because I didn't get in touch with the guru Tim this week to get the list, but next week I'll have that list. There's some guys that they should go after, and we'll put a specific list together. And
Right.
mostly forwards. I mean, they need forwards. They need scoring badly. And
But who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
favorite what?
Favorite person that they should pick? Who's your favorite? Because I know you looked at all of them. I know you came up with a conclusion on who you like the most.
In the draft?
Yeah, in the draft.
In the draft, I really like Peter Marchand. Now, he's a right winger, but that's a guy that scores goals and he's got grit, and he's already 200 and something pounds. It's not like he's 6'3", 175 or 180 pounds. It has to grow out and fill out in his body. So that's kind of the guy I like. And the other guy, I would say, if they could get any of the centers, I'd take them too, because they can shift some guys around that they already have on the roster and move them from center to wing. I think that they would be okay with trying to do that. So
Should the Bruins trade up? Try to trade up?
I would say yes. I mean, all options are on the table. They have extra picks now that they got when at the trade deadline,
Mm-hmm.
and so they should use some of that capital if they can, and
Mm-hmm.
they should. I've said this before on here. Don Sweeney's phone should be on fire. He should be calling everybody. He should be trying to make the team better. That's definitely an option. I would definitely be interested to see if they could trade and move up.
See, the problem is, Steve, I don't know much about hockey, but I do know this. The Bruins are trending in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? I think they're trending I think their biggest mistake, and we talked about this a couple of times. I think their biggest mistake was letting it go the coach, what was it, a year and a half ago?
Jim Montgomery?
I think they should have stuck it through. I understand why, I get all of that, but when you get through the first hill, or sometimes I think you should stick it out with your coach because his plan was working. It worked a couple months previously. And Steve, call me old school. I have a hard time in any sport. I have a hard time getting rid of a coach first sign of trouble when it's not the coach's fault. You know what I mean? That's the issue. When the players aren't performing and you get rid of the coach, to me, I have a hard time with that because I think you need to get rid of the players first before you get rid of the coach. You need to get players and you need to inject the players who are willing to listen and everything else, because when your team is older and you start tuning people out, those guys got to go. Trade them. If they have value, trade them and get younger guys in here because you can keep the same philosophy. But if you get rid of the coach, now you're even taking 2 steps further back and trying to bring in somebody new, trying to bring a new philosophy in, trying to get the whole new thing. And you start from scratch. And I think, to me, that's what the Bruins made their mistake. Now, you being negative Ned that you are, and you're being the hockey guru, am I wrong, like way wrong, or?
No, not at all. No, I agree with you. I agree. They shouldn't have got rid of Jim Montgomery. They should have tried to make the roster better. The problem is they put themselves in a salary cap jail, so to speak,
Right.
and their options got limited. And the signings that they made, the center there, Elias Lindholm, $7.75 million, he struggled and he wasn't panning out. And the defenseman Zadarov at $5 or $6 million, he struggled too. And then they had injuries, and so look, but also, they made the coach the scapegoat because of all the internal issues that they had. You had the Jeremy Swayman thing from the get-go. And, we did talk about there being some kind of malaise during training camp that couldn't get rectified. But I agree with you. The coach shouldn't have been the scapegoat. The players should have been. The trades that they made at the deadline, they should have made some of those trades earlier in the year.
Right.
And give him a chance with some different guys. And then if it doesn't work, then you fire him, and maybe you wait till the end of the year.
Right. But it would have worked because his philosophy was working. 2 years ago, the Bruins had not only the best team in NHL, they had one of the best teams in the hockey history. These guys were really, really, really good, and they overperformed better than what they should have with the roster they had. You don't get rid of a guy who does that in any sport, with the team you have. You just don't do that, to me. You know what I mean?
Well, Frank, I'll cross sports for half a second. Look at the coach for the New York Knicks. He took him to the Eastern Conference title championship round, and for the first time in 25 years, and he got canned. And it's like, wait a second, you bozos, what are you doing? So it's the same thing. They made the coach the scapegoat, and it's wrong. The guy was successful. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Look, they got rid of Bruce Cassidy. That was stupid too.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that the problem is that Don Sweeney did not build the roster good enough for Jim Montgomery to succeed. And when the stuff started falling apart, they blamed the coach, and then they tried to have the interim guy have a new voice, but you had the same pieces and they weren't working.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's the big issue. All right, so
I have one more thing on the Bruins real quick.
I was going to ask you if you had one more thing before I moved on.
I have one more thing that's really pissing me off. This is negative Ned coming out now. The Bruins have a goalie in the AHL. His name is Michael DiPietro. He was one of the top 5 goalies in the league in the AHL in the minors. 26, 8, and 7, 2.05 goals against average. They're letting him walk and test free agency and getting nothing in return. And this is Don Sweeney classic. I don't understand this. This guy should be not only re-signed, he should be on the Bruins big club. I would do whatever is possible to trade either goalie they have on the roster, preferably the backup Korpisalo. He makes $3 million a year, and bring this kid up and don't lose him for nothing. Stupid. Kevin Weeks, who works for NHL Network, put a post, and I put it on our page, that there's already several teams interested in him, and I'm gonna jump ahead and predict that he's going to sign with the Oilers because they struggled in net, and he's going to sign with them, and they're going back to the Stanley Cup final next year.
And you're going to sit there in the same spot you're sitting in and be pissed off about the same thing this time next year.
because it's going to happen, just like when they fired Cassidy and Montgomery.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
So thank you for letting me get that out. Okay, we're ready to move on wherever you want.
Yeah, I think now it's time to move on to this Red Sox situation. Steve, I had a come to Jesus moment. I got so angry, then I got so happy. Then I got so angry, then I got so happy. So now you understand why. Okay, so for those of you sitting at home, I'm sure everybody knows about the Rafael Devers trade and everything else. At first, I was angry because I saw what the Red Sox got back. Then I dug a little bit deeper into it. But what they got in return for Rafael Devers and everything else, and then I was upset. Then I was happy, because we need pitching. You know what I mean? The Red Sox need pitching, and then I got angry again because before we dive into this, Steve, Do you remember this conversation we had when everything first hit about me telling you about there's more to it than Rafael Devers hit? Do you remember that? And do
Yep,
you
I do.
remember the one thing I said? I said there's something there that's not being. I don't know if you remember this, but I said
Oh, I
there's
do.
something being done to him that we don't know about. That the management said to him, and they promised him something, and they went back on what they said because this guy is not. He's just not angry. He's angry at everything and everybody. Now, fast forward to where we are today, and actually after he signed and everything else with the Giants, what was the thing that he said? The Red Sox promised me A, and they didn't deliver A, and they did not want to give me any stability, and they had me all over the place. So before I give my rant, I'm gonna let you go with your rant first.
So let me just say I remember what you said because I was going on kind of a rant and you were like, Steve, you're doing it again. Steve, you're doing it again. We don't have all the facts, blah blah. So I do remember that, and you were right as usual. But I listen. It's a two-pronged problem. They wanted him to be moving around and doing what's best for the team, but they handled it completely wrong. And so I blame them. I blame the front office. This is, to me, this is getting worse than the 70s and 80s when they fumbled Carlton Fisk's contract and let him go and all that stuff. This is getting worse, and I don't see it getting any better. I mean, they completely screwed this up. And
was it a roster dump, Steve? Like let's be honest.
It was a salary dump. Put it this way, it was a salary dump. And I heard, I don't know if you heard this, but I heard somewhere along the line on sports radio that the owner of the Giants called John Henry and told him that Breslow's asking for too much, have him back off, and we're not taking the deal. And that's why they got less, because he said, we're willing to take on the whole salary, but you got to get him to back off and not ask it. There was a top first baseman in the Giants system that the Red Sox wanted as part of the deal, and the Giants didn't want to do it. And the owner called John Henry, and so John Henry must have went to Breslow and said, look, we have an opportunity to dump this guy's whole salary, get less back, and just make this deal and make everything go away. I guarantee it's a salary dump. And I'm sorry to carry on. If you have something you want to interject, please do. But, you probably also heard already, there's a guy from the soccer team on Liverpool that they just signed to a $160 million contract. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at moving into another league and having two leagues and making another team there and signing another guy for like $40 million more. So there's $200 million going to soccer and $250 million coming off the Red Sox books. And for as much as they bold-faced lie to us and tell us that they're not connected and it's not, the sports group is not part of it, it absolutely is. And I think that's that's one of the reasons they wanted to dump his salary. The other is they couldn't get through to him. And I'm going to speculate because I haven't heard this come out yet. But I wonder if after Alex Bregman went down, they went to him and said, okay, we need you to play third base. And he probably said, no, you guys told me to put my glove away. F you. And that was probably the last straw. That's my guess.
Pretty good guess. But I shouldn't even say but. Let's also think about this. Sports radio in Boston is so tied in to the Red Sox organization. This is what really gets me angry about the city of Boston. And they put out a certain type of narrative that they want to push towards people to make sure people are okay with whatever decision they make. You were one of the people who weeks ago when this whole thing came out, and I don't fault you in any way saying this. I'm not trying to point you out. I'm just saying you're one of the people who, as soon as you heard that, because that's what sports radio is making you see. That's why I said, Steve, calm down. Let's sit back. Let's you and I both sit back and look at this and everything else, and look at it for what it is. I say that to say, now that these other things have coming out, they can't cover up the salary dump, and they can't cover up what's going on with Craig Breslow. I think Breslow would be a much better person in his position if he was able to actually do his job and able to be allowed to mix and mingle. But right now they're getting ready to make him be another scapegoat too. That's one point I wanted to make. The other point I wanted to make was they're pushing another narrative now saying, okay, Rafael Devers is not the greatest. He wasn't this, he wasn't that. They're making him be like
bad teammate. I heard a whole bunch of that. Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, it's completely. I know you saw through the BS, right? Now, mind you, 6 weeks ago, he was the best hitter on the team, best thing smoking. What's going on? What I mean, I'm just sick and tired of this dysfunction. I'm sick and tired of a lot of things that the Red Sox are doing, and I think that they're setting up a lot of people to fail because it's turning out to be money. Same thing, and then let's take this conversation also, Steve, to Alex Cora's situation. If you're Alex Cora, your hands are tied. Remember I said at the beginning of the season too. I don't know if you remember. I said how much can he do with if you have garbage, you can only move around garbage so many different ways, right? Am I wrong?
Frank, I've been saying, how long have I been calling them Ocean State job lot bums?
But yeah,
that's what he's working with. That's what he's working with. So look, there's him and Heimblum didn't see eye to eye, and him and Breslow are not going to see eye to eye. You know why? Because Alex Cora knows how to win with guys that legit major league guys. You're throwing 5-6 rookies at him. You're throwing Flotsam and Jetsam at him in key positions. I covered this last week or the week before. You got a guy named Toro playing third, and you got Gonzalez playing first. Those guys are not – they're like 4A guys. They're not regular starting guys, right? So, you're trying to give Alex Cora a chicken salad and ask him to make filet mignon out of it, and it doesn't work. And so it's one of the reasons I thought he was thrown in the white towel. I mean, I just think that the more he's frustrated, and rightfully so. Let's put it this way: the front office is wrong; they've been wrong, but it's all a directive from the owner. The owner wants to cut salary. The owner wants to go with these young guys. The owner he's not concerned with winning. And then you got Sam Kennedy, that a-hole that comes out and gaslights everybody. Comes on stupid Nesson pregame show last week and says, "Oh, I think if Rafael Devers will be there if we need him." And then he comes on the press conference after he gets traded and said, "Well, that was really wishful thinking on my part. Like you should just stop talking. I don't want to hear from him anymore. He's just a blowhard. I'm sick of him. He's a major part of the problem too. I'm sick of Breslow. I'm sick of all this analytic crap. But Ron Henry's okay with it. And one more thing while we're talking about the salary dump. You are aware that they're building a $1.6 billion office across the street, right?
Yep. I've heard.
They need money for that.
Yep. But now let me throw this out there to you, Steve. Alex Cora right now swept the Yankees twice. You know what I mean? Like swept the Yankees twice. And the Yankees have a 786 million, whatever it is.
Whatever their payroll is. It's over 400 million. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely that. So let's say this. Is the new narrative now saying, the front office saying now, we could win. We swept the Yankees, you know what I mean, with the guys we have. I took a step back, Steve. I don't even know if you did this. I took a step back and looked at the roster that Alex Cora has, and I was like, you know what? Well, what he has, he's doing a phenomenal job of what he has. If this guy ends up getting fired, I promise you, he'll be the manager for the Yankees within 12 months because the Yankees are upset with what's going on with their manager. He'll be the Yankees manager within 12 months, and they'll go and win the World Series. And you and I will both be sitting here from whenever that time is and saying, Jesus, why didn't he do that with us? Because he didn't have the type of players he has with us. And the guy can manage, So I'm only bringing that up because I'm getting sick and tired of hearing sports radio make Alex Cora be part of the blame too. He's not the blame. He's not the issue. Like how you said, he has this type of salad he has to work with, and it's not the greatest. So now you got this other. That's one thing. Then you got players getting called down too. So talk about that, Steve. Let's talk about before I jump in on that.
You mean players? What do you mean by players getting called?
With Christian Campbell's situation?
Oh yeah, Christian Campbell. Christian Campbell got sent back to Worcester today. So the front office, Breslow and these guys pat themselves on the back like our scouting and our analytics and our this and that, blah blah. And they pushed this kid to be here. Yeah. And I've been screaming for a month. Why is he still playing at second base? He's making errors up the wazoo. Why was he hitting fourth in the lineup? And I think that's kind of Alex Cora's way of saying, F you, this kid's not ready, right? Yeah. And so, we're both on the same page with Alex Cora. And that's why I posted that poll question a few weeks ago about who gets more blame, Breslow or Cora. And Breslow gets more of the blame because the front office philosophy is the same as Heimblum. You basically just replace one bot with another.
Yeah.
And we both know because we said it. We said it last year when he didn't have the extension for a contract that if the Dodgers had lost, they were going to fire Dave Roberts and Alex Cora would go to the Dodgers and they win the World Series. So no matter where he goes, if he goes to the Yankees, back to Houston, or some other club, It could be the Mets. It could be anybody.
He's gonna be highly coveted.
He's gonna have, if he went to the Mets too. Again, the talent they have there, the roster's loaded. So, look, you're running the risk of running a guy out of here that is not to blame for the dysfunction that's going on there. And so, listen, I can't stand any of it, but I don't see how John Henry's going to change and get a real GM like he had with Dave Dombrowski. I don't see that happening. They're building, they're hiring all these guys, these analytic, and they're look, put it this way. I brought this up and I'll bring it up again. How do you tell Jim Rice not to help the young kids when they ask him for help?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
Oh, that's not how we teach it. Yeah, it's just the whole thing sucks, Frank. It's just really frustrating, and I'm sick of it. And it's not going to get better until John Henry either sells the team or gets like real baseball people in there and stops with this, drive line analytics, launch angle, and all this crap they're teaching these guys.
So what do you think the reality is of him selling the team? I mean, honestly, I think the way he's leveraging. You don't think so?
No, because the team is still making money, and he finally got back under the luxury tax. That's what he wanted. They're $9 million under now. You think they're going to add major pieces at the deadline? They won't. They'll get another reliever probably.
I saw an article. I think it was on Yahoo because I'm on these article sites that night when I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep. I saw an article that it was on Yahoo. The writer on Yahoo was saying, okay, now that Rafael Devers is gone, the Red Sox can make these powerful trades. They could do this trade, this, you know what I mean, making trades. And he gave you all kinds of different, great scenarios where they can get a first baseman. They could get another person to play DH. They might be able to get a center fielder, things that the Red Sox supposedly need. First base, second base, center fielder, things like, he was just going through the list of everything else. And I was like, this makes sense, but I don't know the salary cap like that. I don't think they're going to make any, probably crazy. I don't think they're going to make any moves to get anybody because they're happy where they are financially. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And so think about this. Alex Bregman has an opt-out at the end of the year. He's getting $40 million, right? If he opts out, they'll have 30 or 40 million more available dollars that they won't spend probably. And so the scenarios that you read about, whatever they are,
they're not going to happen.
They're not going to happen. It doesn't matter what they do. Now, listen, I also want to bring this up because I have a funny feeling that between the time they got Bregman and opening day, they were working with Seattle to try and get one of their pitchers and trade Casas. And I wonder if also they went to Devers and said, "Look, we're gonna trade Tristan Casas. We want you to play first base." After they told him to put his glove away, and he nixed the trade, which nixed the trade with Seattle because they could have got like one of their better pitchers here and got rid of Casas and put Devers at first base. And I would have been happy with that because Casas is a freaking head case. I have no use for him. But that's part of it too. So those trades you're talking about, the moves that they could make and get a first baseman and get this guy and get that guy, they're not going to do any of that.
Yeah, I'm a little sad at what's going on there too. So
I'm angry, Frank. I said it yesterday. I'm going to say it again. You know what? They're driving us to drink. I'm not going to do it because I just took allergy medicine, but otherwise, that's where we're headed. And it's only because of Alex Cora that they're in this position.
Well, you know what? It doesn't change if people continue to go to see the game. It doesn't change. It won't change. He can do whatever he wants because fans are still going to drop down, $400, $500 to go see the Red Sox. They're still going to do it. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, ticket prices are going up.
The home fans might stop going, but the visiting fans will take over like they did last year or the year before.
Yeah.
That's why they did what they did this offseason. Remember last year, all the Toronto fans were coming in, the Dodgers fans were coming in. So, yes, they're going to still sell at the ballpark. It's a bad look for them. That's why they got Crochet. That's why they got Alex Bregman. They didn't want that. And now they kind of bought some faith from the fans, and they just threw it away.
They sure did. Any last remarks you want to say?
Whatever goodwill they had, they just pissed it away, and they continue to piss it away.
I guess that was it. That was a good thing you wanted to get away. All right, we did the Red Sox, we did the Bruins. Let's talk about the Patriots real fast, and then we can close with the Celtics and go straight into something else too. So the Patriots had this Stefon Diggs situation with Drake Maye, and they had minicamp going on and everything else. I gotta say this, Steve. You know I'm a huge Patriots fan. I read every article I could read on minicamp and everything else. You know, as I'm trying to go to sleep, and I wake up and still reading the same thing. Um, I've been hearing I've heard more good things coming out of the camp than I have in the entire Mac Jones era. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff is even better written than when the last couple of years when Brady was here. So I'm really excited. I think our secondary, I think defense is going to be stellar. I think it's going to be top 3. I just got to throw it out there. But Steph Diggs did say some stuff about Drake Maye after minicamp and everything else. So you want to tell everybody out there what he said?
I have it here. Yep. He says, I like May. I can't say too much because I haven't been out there much, but as far as like personality wise, he's a dog. You can tell he's a dog from the get go. I can see he's committed to the process. He wants to play well. I've been here all spring. He's been real helpful too. So that's high praise to me coming from him, even though he hasn't been around that much.
Right.
And that's encouraging because, you know, they desperately need him and May to be on the same page so they can have the number one receiver that they've been missing for the last few years. So I like that. I think that's fantastic. And I also like, and I don't remember if we mentioned this or not, we probably did, but I like that he was mentoring some of the receivers during the camp.
Yeah.
So that's a good look.
I also heard that the Patriots are considering bringing in going in seven receivers deep, which I thought was wild. I was like, wow, they probably are sitting there trying to figure out if we go 7 receivers deep, then who are we going to get rid of somewhere else? But going 7 receivers deep is going to put them short somewhere else. And I'm a little nervous about that. But I got to say, they're going to have their hands full trying to figure out who they're going to let go. You know what I mean?
I agree. Listen, you know who they can get rid of on the other side of the ball? Jelani Tavai. I have no use for him. So add a 7th receiver and dump him. I'm fine with that.
You're so mean.
After what he said last year, last year about the fans, when he told the fans to be quiet or whatever, F you.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so I looked at the schedule. Did you see this article too, Steve? That they were basically a couple of articles came out on the Patriots on wins versus losses, and a couple of people came out and said the Patriots should be a playoff team and they should make it to the first round of playoff. One guy said that he thinks they're going to even make it to the second round of playoffs, and I was like, this guy, you know. And then he broke it down. But here's the thing that threw me off a little bit. Like, we don't know in the first couple of games. Like, we don't know the Patriots are going to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't know what kind of Pittsburgh Steelers we're going to see. You know what I mean? With Aaron Rodgers. I counted that as an L before Rodgers signed on board, but I don't know now that he's there. I mean, I need to see what kind of, you know, quarterback he's going to be. I still think he's off, but I do think if the Patriots have the greatest secondaries I think that they're talking about, I still think we could do some damage to them. So I'm gonna give you the floor and say this, Steve. Do you happen to want to change the number of wins that you think the Patriots will get? You have enough time. I mean, it's still only June.
You can't change it yet. I'm still at 8 or 9.
All right.
I'm not doing double digits. Sorry, they're not there yet.
All right. Okay. I don't know what's going to take you to convince you. I'm at 10, 11. And honestly, I think they might even win. I think they'll get 12. If they got 12 with Mac Jones, they can get 12. They can get 12. Okay. And the schedule's softer than what they had. I think they can get 12.
The schedule is softer, but, you know, we have to see more. We have to see. Can't do it, Frank. Can't do double digits yet. They're not going from 4 wins to 12. Everybody's trying to compare them to Washington and say, well, Washington did it last year and they had a soft schedule and blah, blah.
I heard that too.
But the quarterback they had was dynamic. And not that Drake Maye is not good, but their whole team was better. They signed the right guys in free agency. The coach did a good job putting everything together, and they all bought in. And so, look, I'll agree with you. Because the way the league is built, it is built so that you can go from last to first. And so is it possible for them to win 12 games? Yeah, but I'm not going to say that now because it's too early.
Okay,
I still think 8 or 9. It's 8 or 9.
Let me just say this. Last year, they had a head coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, wide receivers coach, line coach, and I'm forgetting somebody. They had 6 coaches, all of them with no head coaching experience. 0. This year, they've got experience. And some of the coaches on the coaching staff have even head coach experience. Their line coach and their offensive coordinators both were once head coaches before. So They went from coaches with no experience at all to an entire staff with more coaching experience than almost anybody in the league. And you're thinking that they're going to still come up with 8 wins, 8, 9
Well,
wins.
look, they upgraded the talent on defense. They're better at linebacker. They're definitely better at cornerback, and they're definitely better up front. I mean, their front seven should be good. I mean, their defense. I agree with you. They can be a top 5 defense.
Three, top three. They're going to be
I'll
top
say
four.
I'll scale it back a smidge and say top 5. Right? I don't see
The
top
most
3 yet.
disruptive player in the defense in the entire year was on the Philadelphia Eagles, one of them, and he's now on the Patriots. And
So listen, there's 2 things they need in order for him to have the impact that we're expecting. Barmore has to stay healthy because those 2 guys on the interior together will be lethal, and they have to get more out of Keon White, which I think
everybody's saying they are. They're checking off those boxes.
They're using him correctly because I have something here on that real quick if I can find it.
Keon White,
Mike Reese from ESPN wrote that Keon White was his biggest X factor for the Patriots defense. He fits in well with an aggressive gaming front that allows him to rush from a 3-point stance over the tackle rather than outside the tackle in a 2-point stance. So he mumbled last year and complained about not being used properly. And we both said that we didn't want to see him go somewhere else and get traded or, force his way out of here. And now what we said is exactly what's happening. These guys are going to use him properly. And so if those 3 guys can maintain health and get after the quarterback and they let them go after the quarterback and be aggressive, they have a shot.
They definitely do. All right, so look at the time. I want to be able to talk about the Celtics real fast before we move on. I'm going to even squeeze in the NBA Finals first. All right, so let's talk about the NBA Finals real quick, and then about the Celtics because what's happening in the NBA Finals right now. Actually, the game is on now, so I'm going to jump into that in a second. But what's happening in the NBA Finals and what's happening to the Celtics ties in because the NBA Finals is going to probably reveal that OKC is going to probably be the champion. Honestly, everything in my mind is telling me, that OKC is going to win tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana wins. I would hope they win because I want to see a game 7. But OKC is very talented. I can't see if they lose is because they completely blow it. You know what I mean? It's not because Indiana really beats them; it's because they blow it. But the reason why I'm bringing it up and tied into the Celtics is because OKC is one of the youngest teams in the league. They have 10 draft picks over the next 3.5, 4 years. And they're going to be looking for veteran leadership at the beginning of next year and everything else. And names have been floated in drafts. Names have been floated in trades. Names have been floated around. And, of course, we're talking about the Celtics with this salary cap situation that they're in. And the Celtics have an issue. The Celtics have a situation, Steve. I'm very concerned. I'm hoping Brad Stevens sticks to what he said about not breaking up the Jays. But I keep hearing every other day that they can trade away Jaylen Brown, which I don't think he will do. Kristaps Porzingis, there's a lot of rumors out there. What are the rumors you heard, Steve?
I have one here saying that Phoenix is interested in him.
Right.
And so, but also, the Suns are also above the second apron. And with the restrictions in place means that both teams can't trade with one another as currently constituted. So there's some moving pieces that have to happen there, even if they're interested in him. What would the Celtics have to take back? What do they need? I mean, they need big guys. So I don't want to see them go to Phoenix and then have us get back like a bunch of, small shooting guys or whatever. They have to get value back. So I'm not in favor of trading him just for the sake of trying to free up payroll. That doesn't work.
Right. Hold on. The reason why I'm even bringing this up is because Brad Stevens has been known to do things that we don't see coming. You know what I mean? We don't see coming. You know what my thing is that I think he might do? This is what I'm throwing it out there. So you can't say I didn't say that. We all know Kevin Durant is going to move for a bag of chips. You know what I mean? But he's also very, he has a lot of money under his contract, right? But here's the scary thing. He can literally move around some money on his contract because he doesn't fall under that apron issue that they have. He can do that if he signs off on that to do that. I think, just throwing it out there, I think the Celtics are trying to, come by fly by night and pair up Jaylen Brown with Kevin Durant because they were in the Kevin Durant conversations anyway 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
I saw something about that earlier. and I don't know if I still have it here.
I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to
I
shock
saw
the world.
something earlier where he right here. Let's see. Miami Heat, San Antonio, and Houston are his desired spots, but it says somebody cited that he wanted to wind up on the Celtics and uh, Celtics or Knicks. So he has the Celtics as a possible destination to come here, and so could they trade Porzingis for him? Maybe.
They would. They would. They
Right.
would.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's it. If the Suns are interested in Porzingis and we take back, so you're still over the second apron. But then there's other things that Brad Stevens can do that have been rumored. And I agree with you. I don't want to see Jaylen Brown traded just for the sake of dumping salary, a la Rafael Devers. That's not going to work. Now I know we briefly touched on this a few weeks ago. The Dallas Mavericks have the number 1 pick, and that there's that kid coming out in the draft, and there's rumors about trading Jaylen Brown there for him and getting the number 1 overall pick. But again, in the NBA, they don't just allow you to do a salary dump and be like, oh yeah, hey, take this $50 million guy and give us back a draft pick for nothing. I mean, that doesn't work. So, and I don't really. It's a guy's name, Cooper Flag or something.
Yeah.
I don't want him.
Cooper Flag's not even in discussion. This is what I see. I see Sam Hauser, Kristaps Porzingis going to Phoenix for
Kevin Durant. Froze up. Sam Hauser.
The money will probably work a little bit better. It takes them off of that issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You froze up a little bit.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm saying Kevin Durant goes. We lose Sam Hauser and Kristaps Porzingis. I think we're losing. I think Sam Hauser's gone. I don't care how you. Sam Hauser's gone because the kid they drafted last year can shoot just as good as him, if not even better. So he's gone. That's $35 million to $40 million gone right there out the gate. So he's gone. But the problem is Kristaps Porzingis. Kristaps Porzingis is the pivot of everything because if he's not healthy, then we're giving But if he is healthy, the Celtics got to get back more for him. If he's not healthy, it's a here's your bag of chips. We'll take your bag of chips. We swap bag of chips. The money we'll make the money work. Except we'll even give you a sandwich, and here's the sandwich. His name is Sam Hauser. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess
so we can help into the April.
To your point, I guess maybe that means that the Celtics would have to take back Durant and another guy salary wise, maybe because if Porzingis isn't healthy, right? So we take another guy back that has an $8 million contract, let's say, even if he's a bench guy like Sam Hauser. Maybe that's part of it. And you know what? I don't. Excuse me. I don't think that would be the worst thing for them. Then the problem is who's playing center if he's not here.
Well,
because we don't know if Al Horford's coming back or not. And Luke Cornett's a free agent.
Yeah, I was going to say this. A lot of this stuff is based on what happens with the Luke Cornett, domino. You know what I mean? But Cater too, because they're gonna bump up Cater. Cater can play. You know what I mean? And coaching is the issue on why Cater hasn't played as much as because he could have played and could have helped them against the Knicks. He didn't play at all. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but
I agree. No, let me jump in for half a second. I totally agree with you, and I think that if Al Horford doesn't come back, I would be fine with Cornette and Cater as the two guys because Cater's got talent, and you have to utilize the young guys at some point. What do you have him here for? So I like him.
So before I move on, because I want to move on, Ime Udoka just signed a huge contract. He's one of the top contract. He signed it with Houston. The reason why I'm bringing it up is Ime Udoka obviously was the Celtics head coach here for 1 year, and he brought him to the finals. So my last question before we move on, Steve, do you regret Ime Udoka not being here?
No, because the Celtics won the championship last year, and there's no guarantee that if he was still here that they would have won. I think he's a damn. I agree. He's a great coach. I liked him when he was here, but it's not a guarantee that they would have came through. And it's not that Mazzulla is a better coach than him, but I'm happy with the title, and I'd rather have that than Udoka.
We would have had the title anyway if Ime had been here last year.
Okay,
but we would have beaten the Knicks with a better coach. We lost to the Knicks. Yeah, Jason Tatum got hurt, but before Jason Tatum got hurt, we lost to the Knicks because for some reason. They went from a 10 and 11 man rotation down to 7. You know what I mean? We weren't playing players who could obviously play and help us. And of course, the play calling was horrendous. So I don't know. That was, and
I
then
agree with you. Look, I agree with you because we hopped on the threes forever. I mean, I
yeah,
hate
that's
that.
what I was going to say. And Ime
So,
Udoka would have made they didn't shoot 11 straight threes 2 games in a row and blow 2 20-point leads. Ime Udoka wouldn't. We would have won that first game, and we probably would have won that second game. So we
right.
would have got past. We probably would not have gotten past Indiana with the way they were playing, but they would have definitely hadn't squandered to the Knicks. But anyway, all right. So look, we got to do the next couple of things, right, Steve?
Yep.
Where we at?
We got to do. Give me 1 second here. Where are we going? We are
I can't wait till we do the part about predictions and stuff like
weekly
that.
poll. Weekly poll. I believe we only had. Oh, I screwed that up. I believe we only had one question last week. Let me find it. Do you like the trade of Rafael Devers from the Red Sox to the San Francisco Giants? Yes, he was too selfish. 50%. No, they need his bat. 50%. So everybody's split.
Really? Okay.
Split 50-50.
Okay.
I think we need. I think, and I'm going to ask for your help here. I think we need to come up with a question that says, "Are the Red Sox? Will the Red Sox still make the playoffs without Rafael Devers, or something along those lines?" Right?
Here it is. Are the Red Sox better or worse without Rafael Devers? Yes.
That's
or no?
what I was going to say. Yeah. Okay. All right.
The Red
That'll be
Sox.
definitely one of the questions. Danny said we need more poll questions. Yeah. I slipped off a
Yeah,
little bit.
Danny, thanks a lot. Yeah, we give us a couple. We will, you know what I mean? It's hard to come up with something every week. Okay, so here's two. Are the Red Sox better or worse without Rafael Devers? And will the Red Sox go further in the playoffs, than originally expected? You know what I mean? Like those two could definitely need to be the question. Because
Right.
without Rafael Devers, I think a lot of people don't think they're gonna go as far. But I think they will. I think they'll go further. Actually, I think they're playing better baseball without him. To be honest with you, I don't know why that happened, but
No, actually, let me half correct you. They won 7 of 8 games when he was in the lineup, even though he was struggling. And the reason is because they changed the pitching philosophy. They stopped throwing all that sweeper, curve, off-speed crap, and they started throwing more fastballs. And if you look at the way the Stars have been pitching over the last week and a half, their Stars have been amongst the best in the league. And so, somebody somewhere along the line, whether it was Alex Cora or Breslow,
pitching coach,
the pitching coach was basically told, "Hey, look, dum, your crap's not working anymore. You need to fix this, or you're going to be fired."
Yeah,
I think that's what happened because he would have been the scapegoat if they kept getting shellacked. Lucas Giolito, 1 2/3, 7 runs. Walker Buehler, 2 innings, 8 runs. Like they needed to fix that badly, and so that's most of the reason why they've been better. And they did take 2 out of 3 without Devers, but they were winning with him in the lineup. So it's going to remain to be seen if they can continue. And I agree with you.
Okay, well, just
I think if they give Alex Cora enough, they can be successful. Look, we talked about this. They needed pitching. They got a bullpen guy, right?
Yeah.
That they desperately needed, and he's a major league guy, even though his ERA's crap this year so far. And the kid that they got that's in Worcester is a left-handed young prospect guy that throws 100 miles an hour. So he's like Garrett Crochet 2.0.
So Steve, moving forward, are they going to be better or worse? I'm going with better. I think we're going to be better than we expected.
I'll say better, but I'm still going to stick with my prediction of 88 wins and miss the playoffs.
You are the worst. I'm going to get you a diaper for when this is over. We'll get you a diaper. Crap over I think I got a diaper around this house somewhere. I'm getting you a diaper.
I crap all over
Yeah, you crap over everything. I'm gonna put negative Ned on the diaper. I'm gonna put just don't let me get a print out of a picture of you. I'm gonna put your picture on the diaper. Negative Ned crap over everything. Crap over everything. All right, so let's move on to the polls.
All right, so listen, I have been mentioned as being a spokesperson for Snickers.
For what?
Because, for Snickers.
Okay.
Because I get hangry. People that know me know when I get hungry, I get evil. So I already know that I should have my own Snickers commercial. Now, Frank, you're making me a spokesperson for Depends.
Yeah, we'll make it supposed to depend. Not grown folks diapers, like baby diapers with the soft poo.
Oh no. Listen, I've outgrown the Huggies. They're not going to fit.
No, they're not for you. They're not for you to wear. They're for you to because you when you're talking, you're crapping over everybody. So you be like, yeah. All right,
Danny says I need to get XXL diapers.
See, all right. So we did the poll
All right.
questions. No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. That's the poll. There was only one.
Okay, now it's time for the predictions.
We're on to the predictions. Let me start with last week's predictions because
you're the only one here. Go ahead.
Yep. I kept one from the previous week. I said that Christian Cameron will be sent back to Worcester. Ding, ding, ding. He got sent back today. So I was right there. I said Roman Anthony would hit his first home run this week. Past week, he did the other day. So I got 2 right finally. And I said that more stuff would come out about the friction between Breslow and Cora. I'll give myself half right because some of the stuff is coming out, but I don't think it's all coming out. There's a quote here. If you give me a half a second to find it, it says that they have not seen eye to eye on the direction of the team. Cora wants to win now, and Breslow, like Chaim Bloom before him, was hired to build a sustainable future. The last time Cora found himself misaligned with the head of baseball ops, Bloom was fired.
Wow.
So, and one staffer, watch this. This is the kicker. One staffer described the situation as an absolute bleep show.
Really?
So did you hear about the guy that got fired?
No.
In the Zoom meeting?
No.
There was a Zoom meeting, right? And one of these guys, he's been here since 2017, said, "Thanks for nothing, Breslow, you bleeping idiot," or whatever. His mic was still on after the meeting was over. He forgot to turn his mic off. And so he called him an idiot. He called him a freaking idiot or whatever. Oh, no. He said, I have it here. Sorry. He said, "Thanks, Brez, you effing stiff." Thanks, Brez, you effing stiff. And Breslow caught it and fired him.
I'd have said, you know what? Thank you for your service. I appreciate it. But I wouldn't have fired him.
He probably fired him. They said, "Thanks for your service. Bye. See you later. Pack up your crap and get out of here." So look, the dysfunction in there is not just with Alex Cora. It's with the staffers, the coaching staff. There's dysfunction. There's rumors about Breslow barricading himself and like not being as collaborative with people now. And he's basically shutting everybody off. So listen, it's not good. It's definitely not good.
Okay, so now it leads into the predictions. Like, what are your predictions?
Hold on, let me find them. My sheet's long here. Hold on. All right, so I say that Marcelo Maye becomes the starting second baseman going forward, with Campbell being sent back. Now I know he's played third, and there is a chance that Rafael Sadan will move to second too, with Anthony going in the outfield. But I think it's Maye that should be a second base. I also think that somehow this goes against everything we said earlier, but I think that somehow they're going to make another move for infield help, even though they already got that guy from the Angels. I think there's another move coming because the guys they have, and it might be another Ocean State job lot bum, but I think something else is in the works. And next week at the draft, the Bruins are going to F up, and they're going to take a defenseman with their 7th pick, as usual. They don't take a forward that they desperately need. They have this love affair / habit of drafting defensemen high in the draft, and I'm gonna put the diapers on and poo-poo all over that Don Sweeney and his draft acumen. So there's my 3 for the week.
Steve, you got a lot of them. You got a lot. Okay, so
well, usually I have none, so I came prepared this time for once.
Yeah, that's great. So I don't have that many deep. I do think the Bruins are going to mess up the draft. I think they're going to, except the difference is with what you said. I think they're going to do a colossal mess. I think they're going to pick somebody who nobody even sees. They're not even on the board. I think that's what the Bruins. But I'm only saying that because I think the Bruins are trying to shake things up. But their shake things up is going to make stuff worse. So that's what I think is going to happen with the Bruins. I think the Red Sox are going to start to turn things around because the person who was the Red Sox team was supposed to be good. The cancer of the locker room is gone. You know what I mean? All that friction, everything else is gone. Even though, the team probably had a civil war where half the team was probably on Rafael's side, the other half probably not, and everything else. I don't think what we're seeing now is a mirage with the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox now are coming and say, okay, well, he's not here now. Guys are coming back. We got a little bit of extra, pitching help. I think now we're going to start to see the Red Sox be better. and better than we would have even expected. So
Don't
I think
forget
it's
Bregman's coming back too at some
yeah,
point, so
yeah,
that
yeah,
helps the
yeah,
lineup for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And I'm saying that right now on the record. I think the Red Sox are about to get not just good. I think they're about to get really, really good. So there's that. Um, in the case of the Celtics, I think we're going to hear more rumors, obviously, of trades. But because the draft is coming up and everything else, I think the Celtics are going to make a blockbuster, which I'm really scared about. I think they're going to make a blockbuster trade by the time. Let's see, when is the draft next week? Right? It's next week.
NBA
Yeah,
draft is next week too, right?
yeah, I think
Isn't it
so. Yeah,
after the finals, right? The week after
yeah,
the finals?
yeah. So I don't know if it's going to happen right before the draft and everything else, but I think we'll sit down, get tight. We're going to hear about two more big drafts, two more big trades is going to happen. Not one, but two. And I think the Celtics is going to be one of them. And see, I did the Red Sox. The Patriots, my beloved Patriots. I think they're not going to be in the news at all. I think we're not going to hear nothing about the Patriots because they're sitting back and just, relaxing and getting ready for training camp. You know what I mean?
We have a whole month before training camp starts, so
Yeah,
it's all
I think
quiet on the Western Front with them.
yeah, with them, I think they're going to sit back. We're not going to hear nothing from the Patriots. Not a thing. I think we might hear Stefon Diggs is partying with Cardi B, doing something else insane with that. Maybe that's going to happen. But other than that, no. And I'm still not liking this. I got to admit, I'm still not liking the Stefon Diggs addition to the Patriots. I just want to say that out there. I think he's a distraction that they don't need. I wish they had got another big time receiver, but I still think
Who's
he's
the guy
good.
who's the guy that Pittsburgh got? Lockett?
Yeah.
Would you rather have had him? Because I think I would have rather have had him.
I think I would have too. I want somebody like a Mike Evans type, head to the ground, jump high, at type, high reach, wins the 50-50 balls. That's what the kind of guy I want.
Well, listen, they went after Chris Godwin, and he said no. I mean, that's the kind of guy I would take too, obviously. I mean, they tried.
He said no before. He said no when it was with
last year when it was Mayo?
Yeah, when it was Mayo. I think now, if you go back to a lot of these guys, I don't think they're going to say no. Let's see. Our coach is loved throughout the league. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people love him, and a lot of people want to play for him. Yeah, and you saw what he did for Tennessee. And what we have right now with Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is one of the best offensive coordinators ever. Like he could literally go to the Hall of Fame as an offensive coordinator. He definitely won't go as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, and he came back and he has a lot to prove. And then now we gave him an undrafted wide receiver. We gave him a great running back from the draft, and we gave him a fullback. Now, I mean, he's getting ready to speed things up. And of course, he's got two tight ends. We're going to be dynamic. Again, one last chance. 10?
I'm not biting, Frank. Can't do it. Nope,
Right.
No 10 yet. 8 or 9. Still stuck on 8 or 9.
All right. So with that,
negative Ned's got a negative Ned. Sorry.
It's all right. You guys saw that I tried to give him a chance. So
nope,
okay,
can't do it.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to go, so we can get ready to go watch this NBA Finals game. And and Indiana's winning, so I want to definitely just go and see.
I actually might tune in now that hockey's over because I'm curious to see if Indiana can win because I like Rick Carlisle. I think he's a good coach.
Listen, I'm a Rick Carlisle fan ever since he was with the Celtics. I loved him. You know why I loved him though? This is why I loved him. Quick story. I went to the store one time when I was in the South End. I used to live in the South End. I went to the store one time in the South End. I'm walking in a store 24. Who's coming out? Rick Carlisle's coming out of the store. And I said, hey, how you doing? He said, hey, how you doing? And I just asked him one question. Next thing you know, the one question led to two questions. And we stood out there and talked for like 20 minutes. And I was talking basketball with him. And it was during the summer leagues. And this was at the time, I think he was just with Dallas. He definitely was at Dallas, but I think he was coming up with Dallas at the time. You know what I mean? And we just talked about, I remember when it was. It was because one of the questions I asked him was about LeBron James. It was about when LeBron James was coming into the league. I was asking, is this guy really the real deal? And that's, he was telling me his thought process. And everything he said turned out to be true because everybody was talking about LeBron before he came in. So, yeah.
He's a smart guy.
All right. Oh, listen, he's a brain. He is a brain. I wish we had. I don't like our head coach for the Boston Celtics. I love him as a person. I just don't like him as a coach. So gotta get out of here. So
okay.
Thank you guys for watching. The name of the show is Boston Straight Shooters. Steve, take us home.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for voting in the polls. Thanks for the commentary, and thanks for your support. And be sure to catch us on YouTube. And we'll see you all next week. See ya.
All right, guys. Steve, see you.
Well,